This
All right,
conference
guys.
will now be recorded.
All right, now we're good. Welcome everybody to our webinar. It's Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. This is Carlos, CEO of GR Capital. Welcome aboard all Instagram followers, Facebook followers, social media followers, Twitter followers, clients, students, even staff that's joined in. Thanks so much for stopping by. So this is going to be pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. This is for you. This is for you guys to answer questions. We do it live every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time during market hours. I try to get as much as I can in, but I think with a visualization, you can actually see the charts. I can explain in more detail. So we're going to do this webinar for about an hour. If you like it, please let me know through Instagram and what have you. We could do this probably weekly or ever so often. Obviously, we want to give more content to you for free and help you guys out in any way we can. We really do appreciate you following us and supporting our team and the brand. So with that being said, let's get started. Glasses are on. Let's rock. All right, so we're going to do this pretty simply. Just type, if you are with us now in the webinar, anyone who's late, just get in, type in your questions. You can see my screen now. This is Thinkorswim platform. This is live market data right now. What I'm looking at here is the dollar yen, SPY, QQQ, and ES. So type in your questions now, right here on the chat box, and we can get started. Okay, here we go. Pietro asks, when and how do you think the trade war ends? Market is very rare with war. Okay, so that's a pretty ambiguous question. It's going to be tough. Donald Trump, the president, is very hard to predict. I think that's fair to say. But I can tell you right now, the rhetoric is getting ugly both ways. The Chinese are saying they're not going to back down. The Americans are not going to back down, which is us. I don't know if it ends. I think it'll only end if the stock market tanks. We are really only 5% off the all-time highs on the S&P. So again, the United States has a little leverage here. The Chinese really don't. The only thing the Chinese have is that the president, President Xi, doesn't have to be reelected. President Trump does. So his election is in 2020, next year. So if this trade war gets worse and customers have to pay more money in order to, let me mute this, oops, sorry, in order to pay more money for their goods with these tariffs that come from China, it's going to probably get even worse. So again, how does it end? I think we come to an agreement. I just don't know when. It's politically unstable not to get a deal done. It has to be. It may not be something that everyone wants in regards to both sides, but an agreement has to be made. So that's my opinion. I think we'll get it if we really fall even harder in the market. But at the end of the day, that's all it is. We just have to wait. Just telling people to jump on. Okay, so where we are. Next question here. If you have any questions on a stock, just fire away. We already had our first question in regard to the trade war. So again, type in all questions. See, I told you guys to get ready. Your questions to get ready. Get your questions ready. Hello. And we got people joining. How is Elon feeling right about now? Okay, so let's talk about Tesla, right? I think that's something that everyone loves to discuss. Looking here on the daily chart, I don't know if you could see here. You could see Fibonacci's are basically done. It's tank job. Right now, the one thing that he's looking at is the bonds, Tesla bonds. Remember, the worse the bonds do, the higher yield they pay, meaning they have to pay more interest. Luckily, we're in a low rate environment, but again, they do have some cash that they got in for the latest capital raise. Production has to be on point, but it really don't know what to expect from this company or this stock. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Tesla's like herpes. Just stay away, man. Just stay away. You don't want any kind of flare-ups on you. So just stay away. You can look from a distance, but I wouldn't touch it. What defensive stock would you recommend if trade wars go ugly? When you say defensive, do you mean a defensive stock in regards to like weapons defense or defensive to protect your portfolio? If you can let me know. So I'm going to go over both. If we have a war, let's say, I don't think we're going to ever get in a war with China militarily. I like Lockheed Martin and I like Boeing. Boeing is really cheap here. If we tap 333 or 320, I'd probably buy some more. I own Boeing. I like Lockheed Martin long term. We're nearing the highs here, but 340 looks to be a breakout after that 320 off earnings. So again, I like Lockheed Martin. It's just a little pricey here, but I like Lockheed Martin. If you want to protect your portfolio, they talked about this on Fast Money on CNBC, healthcare. The more they talk with China, the less they're going to talk about healthcare for all and Medicare for all. So I like UNH. That's the only healthcare stock I like long term. I own UNH, and I think here it's very cheap. I would definitely get in and target 290. I think we hit 300, not by the end of the year, but by next year, 300 is definitely in play on United Health. Another one would be XLU, utilities. They pay dividends. Look at utilities. Even with this volatility, nice little break here on the daily, 59.92. That's a good safe haven. And of course, you can always get into bonds. If you want to trade some bonds, you can go into TLT. When bond yields do fall, 10-year bonds. Remember, I always been talking about 10-year bonds as always. That's the safe haven for the market. That's how mortgage rates are based. I would definitely get into TLT long term. And they also have options. Just don't expect explosive growth in regards to it. Again, it's a good way to park your money. And there's no problem with having some cash on the side as the dollar gets stronger. So again, having some cash reserves is good as well. I'm not a huge fan of gold. I own some gold coins. I have some gold and silver in my vault. But again, I wouldn't just put all my money in there either. And now, as a new trader, what advice would you give as I'm entering into chaotic market? Biggest piece of advice aside from patience. The biggest piece of advice I can give you is have a target, have a goal, break it down. Go by a year, break it down by months, break it down by month, and then week, and then daily. Again, you don't know where you're going until you have a plan. So again, let's say, for example, your goal is to make $10,000 for the year, $12,000 for the year. Let's make it simple. Divided by 12 is what? $1,000 a month. Break that down into four, $250 a week. $250 a week divided by 5 is 50 bucks. If you make 50 bucks a day consistently, I mean, not exactly the easiest thing in the world to do, but you can do it. Again, you do that long term, 5 days, every day, and sometimes you'll beat it. You'll get $100, $200 in profits, or maybe you'll be a little lower and make no money or lose some money. But again, the average out statistically will be better off for you. So again, what I hear all the time from traders is, I want to make money. That's very ambiguous. What does that mean? What is money to you? It's all relative. So again, have a target, break it down, a year goal, then break it down to a month goal, break it down to a weekly goal, to a daily goal, and then stick to it. The discipline is so key. Once you hit that number, get out. There was one day I showed you guys on Instagram that I made $1,000 on one day. I got out. That was done for my week. That was just one portfolio. I was done, and I didn't trade more on that account. I left it there. I was good. I was happy. I turned off the screen. Don't do this for fun, guys. Don't trade for fun. This is a business. Treat it like a business. You'll get paid like a business. Treat it like a hobby. You'll get paid like a hobby. Zero. So there you go. Okay, we got another question. My 16-year-old cousin wants to start investing his $1,000 he saved up. Where should he begin? Platforms, brokers, Forex, crypto stocks. Investing, keep it simple. I've always said this before. Since it's $1,000 and he's 16 years old, you obviously need to go ahead and set up an account, a custodial account. So you could put it in trust for them. So you'll still have access because they're not 18. And when they're 18 years old, you just give it to them. You can do this with Robinhood. You can do this TD Ameritrade. I'm going to show you the one I always love. So I'm going to bring up TD Ameritrade here, and I'm going to type in SPY-G. S&P 500 growth fund. Right here, it is no commission free. So you can always click on commission free, and it'll tell you exactly the list, over 300 commission free ETFs, meaning you don't have to pay $7 a trade to buy or sell. And SPYG holds all these great companies. You can actually see when you buy SPYG, you're going to own Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Visa, Cisco, Verizon, MasterCard, and Pfizer, and a lot more companies. But again, it gives you the diversification of, cyclicals, financials, consumer defensive, healthcare, technology, which is the highest weighted, near 30%. And again, you're still going to get a nice dividend as well. Not amazing dividend, but a decent one, about 1.33% on the yield, 1.62. I own SPYG as well. I always say the first 25 grand put into that, it gives you the diversification. After 25 grand, you can start looking to single stocks. But again, keep it simple, SPYG, S&P 500 growth ETF, mutual fund, or it's an ETF, excuse me. Let's see here, more questions as they bring it in. Okay, Forex and future require margin. I've opened a separate TD account, TD. Yes, I would kind of separate those, have a separate account. If you're going to do margin, just be very careful, it's a loan. So again, you'll get a margin call if you're behind. So be very careful, they charge interest. Do you think we open red tomorrow over the weekend? Well, looking at futures now, again, things can change very quickly. We are green on futures, but nothing really has changed. No real rhetoric has changed. There's no real economic data to come out over tomorrow. So again, I do think we're going to open red tomorrow. I have some SPY puts as a signal sent out, the 280 puts on SPY. You could take a look here. We're at 282. I think we continue down to the downside. We had a nice little sell-off today. Nice bounce yesterday. This at the end of the day, just a big bounce on algo-driven bounce, but nothing really behind it. No fundamental reason for the buying other than people maybe closing their position. But I still believe that we're still going to get a little more downside risk here. So again, short term, I'm still a little more bearish, but I think long term, I still own my stocks and I haven't sold one stock. So again, I still like it short term. Over the weekend, we don't know. We have a long weekend. Memorial Day, Monday is a holiday. So again, I don't want to hold positions over the weekend. We don't know what's going to happen. So just be very careful. Can you explain the significance of ES? Yes, ES is E-mini futures S&P 500. So it's basically commoditizing, like oil and gold, contracts on the S&P 500. So you can see the SPX and ES. SPX is the actual index for the S&P. You can't really buy contracts on it. I mean, you could, but again, the best way to do it is the E-mini futures. It's a little more liquid. It trades 24 hours, technically 23 hours because there's a break in between. 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, all over the world. So it gives people a chance overseas to actually trade it. And you could see 28.22 on SPX, but it's 28.25 now. So again, it is up about 6 handles from fair value, which is the difference between the SPX and ES. So I always look at ES overnight to see exactly where we're moving, because we'll see Asia and Europe trade those. And we can see how we do in the open. Again, it's kind of like, I kind of equate futures before pre-market, kind of like a trailer of a movie. When you watch a movie at the movie theaters, a trailer comes on, right? It's kind of giving the preview of movies to come. You can kind of say to yourself, that movie's gonna suck. I'm not watching that. But you only saw a 30-minute clip of it. They're gonna show you the highlights, right? So again, I kind of equate it to that in that regard. So again, it just kind of gives you a preview of what's to come. It's not indicative of what's gonna happen during 9:30 to 4, but it's a good way to preview it. Now, crypto, what is your 6-month forecast on your long-term forecast? What would be to evolve with it? Crypto, I just read that crypto, Bitcoin is going to be accepted by AT&T. I'm an AT&T shareholder. I'm a Bitcoin owner, so that's pretty nice. But let's go ahead and bring up the Bitcoin contracts here. So I'm going to type in BTC, Bitcoin futures, and you can see that we're nearing a double top here from July for 84.90. I think we could break above 84.90, and then, actually 8,500. If we break above that, we could get a short squeeze. So I definitely want to put an alert there for 85.10. Put 85.10 alert there. And if we break that above, I still think we're going to continue to 10,000. Again, we have a long road to get to. And of course, you can see here 20,650 all the way down to 78.75. But we are creeping below the lows of 31.20. I think we'll continue the upside. The only cryptos I own are Verge, Cardano. I own Tron. Again, these are small positions. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Ripple are my biggest positions on crypto. And when I say big position, I don't think it's not tons of money. It's just very basically speculation money that I don't care if I lose it all. So again, you should go to crypto thinking that you may lose it all. I know it sounds very, very negative, but you want to be very careful because these are very volatile markets. So again, just have that in your mind before you get into anything like crypto, because it's still in the evolution stage. Remember Amazon, when they first came out, their IPO, they fell. Facebook, when their IPO, they fell. So again, these things do change. Have a long-term view on these kind of investments long-term. Again, it's speculation, but again, speculation gives you the best return long-term. If you want explosive growth, prepare for explosive downturn. It works both ways, guys. All right, good questions, good questions. Anything else going on here? What's going on? So let's see. I know we talked about, any other exciting IPOs to watch for the remaining year? The only other IPO I want to get into, I bought Uber and I bought Lyft, is Airbnb. And I want to own that. The other ones I'm not touching. Beyond Meat was one that was kind of interesting, but one thing I thought about the other day in regards to veganism is I don't think it's a fad, but it's expensive. It's kind of like Whole Foods in a sense. So like when people have money, they're going to spend a little more on food. But if there's a recession going on, then people are not going to spend money, extra cash, to go vegan or maybe eat vegetarian. When money's really tight, diet's kind of out the window. You want to kind of go with the cheap food. So that's why I've always liked McDonald's. No matter what recession happens, people are going to eat their cheeseburgers. Veganism be damned. So again, the only other one I like is Airbnb, but Beyond Meat is something that's on my radar and I've been thinking about, but I'd rather see what happens if we get a downturn, if we do. Any other questions here? Del Taco is offering Beyond Meat items. Huh, there you go. I guess everyone has their thing. So yeah. Any other questions here? What do we have going with Forex? That's me talking. What do we have going with Forex? We have dollar yen short that we're in and Aussie yen that we're short. We think we just got in. Okay, so let's see here. When you first got started, now we're getting the questions here. When you first got started, what's your biggest mistake? My biggest mistake was over positioning and impatience. That was the big one. It cost me total of day trading $17,000 by not being patient. I learned about being patient and and knowing my position size and how much pain I can tolerate with a position. Big. European elections over the weekend. Yep. Do you have an investing service to your options trading service? Yeah, we have our investing group, but again, I just show you exactly what we're in regards to stocks. Thoughts on Slack? I'm not a fan because I think any other company can kind of get into it. Slack could be bought out maybe, so that could be an acquisition. I have 2,000 to invest. How would you start? SPYG. I just spoke about it. Anything under 25K, SPYG. Patience is tough, absolutely, because it all starts here in your head. So again, you have to be very careful. It's all about knowing what you got to do. Knowing about what you do, understanding thyself, that's the key. If you want to be masterful in anything you do, you have to start knowing what you got to do. 5Gs to get into, I like Qualcomm and I like Verizon. I own Verizon, it's my largest position in my portfolio. I like Apple too. Of course, I love Apple, I own it. Qualcomm with their chips sounds really good. Any weed stocks you like other than CGC? Nope, CGC is the only one. I'm not changing that. CGC only. Anything else, I'm not touching. Simple as that. All right, we're getting emails here. Just gonna go ahead and reply to some quick email as I get questions coming in. All right, so let's take a look here at something I want to guys show you. I've talked about this before. This is the 10-year bond. You can see as the yields fall, I'm going to compare it to the SPX, which is the S&P 500. I've talked about this many times before. We could see what we have an inverse correlation. So when the S&P goes up, we actually have a correlation. Sorry, when bond yields go down, S&P goes down with it. So we had a little bit of a bounce here, but again, usually if we look at a long-term, actually, you know what? Let me bring up an hourly chart instead. And you could see, let me see if I can get the ES going instead. Compare ES, there you go, ES mini futures, a lot easier. Let's see, comparing contract. Oh, you know what? Let me do this instead. It won't let me add it. Give me a second. I don't know why it doesn't allow me to do, just do the SPX, a lot easier. You can see here the downward trend. As yields fall, the S&P falls down as well. So again, that's what we call a correlation. So which is bonds. They usually give you a tell the 10-year bonds. You could type in US 10-year, US 10Y on TradingView. It's free. Gives you an idea of what to see. You guys can see the computer screen, right? Making sure. All right, any other questions here? Keep it moving along, moving along. Let's look at some, oh, I remember we talked about TweetDeck. So TweetDeck, this is exactly what I have here. I look at this on a daily basis, one of our tools. I look at exactly what we're seeing on a daily basis. This is why I get my news. I also am subscribed to the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg. Bloomberg meaning just information on the website. You can see, welcome JR Capital, I pay for that. So again, I always want to see exactly what's going on a daily basis. We're in an information-based economy. We've got to know what's happening when we do it. So some news here, national CPI, which is consumer price index, excuse me, did meet expectations. So I'm going to go ahead and retweet that for the Twitter followers. So if you like this kind of webinar, guys, this is how we teach our students when we have class. These are all recorded, and you actually see our screen, and we can actually give you access to the screen so you can show us your screen and help you in your trading and your charting. So again, very, very important. This is the best tool we have in order to teach. Teaching over the phone is not going to work, and teaching in person, not everyone lives in Miami. So again, it's something as a way to help you guys. Again, all classes are recorded. We show you everything in our screen, and we go from there. So let's take a quick look at Forex. 109.61, nice little bounce here. Dow futures are up 55. So again, dollar yen is bouncing slightly, still holding on to our short position. And again, we know that the yen is a safe haven, meaning that it is directly inversely correlated to the stock market. So when stocks fall, we want to go long yen as a safe haven. Again, we talked about that as a risk off. Again, dollar yen, we're looking at that. If stocks fall continuously to the downside, we're going to be long yen. We're getting a little bit of a pop here. No big deal on an hourly chart. We'll see exactly what happens. But the Dow is bouncing here on the futures, up 55, and S&P up about 7 handles right now. Any other questions here? Thought you guys would have more questions for me. Any other news that could change the market aside from a trade war? Yeah, if the president gets impeached and his financial record has shown that he has some ties to Russia, that's a big deal. I don't know what's going to happen in that regard. So again, that could happen anytime. And now, such as the Fed, with no rate moves for some time. Yeah, I mean, they're standing pat. They said there's not going to be any kind of rate cuts or rate hikes for the full year. So at least we know we're consistently there that the Fed is not going to do anything. I like that kind of forecasting. Kind of throws it out the window. But again, right now it's all trade war. And if we get a trade deal, I think the markets do bounce and we're going to break new highs. Very, very crucial. I think definitely 3,000 is in play, but we got to get a deal going. We got to get something on the books. How do you go about carrying out long-term trades other than speculation? Uber calls expire in 2020, Apple calls expire to the end of the year. Definitely we don't do that because it's so pricey. I had long-term puts on the market from, I think it was from March, looking for a slide, and they all didn't pay off. But again, those are insurance against my portfolio. So every trade I had was against my portfolio as an insurance contract, in a sense that it's kind of like putting Geico car insurance on your car. You have to pay the premiums, right? But if you don't crash your car, you don't get anything out from it. But you're just happy you didn't crash your car. So it's just protection. If you're looking for protection of your portfolio, fine, long-term puts are fine. But if you're looking just to speculation, it costs too much and it's not worth it in my opinion. If you want to look at an example, let's take a look at Apple long-term puts or long-term calls, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to play. Let's look at June this year. It's $30 for calls, $10 for calls. Look how expensive it is, $12.50. So if you want to go ahead and buy some, look how much does it cost. Let's see one contract. This contract is $1,200 just for one play. I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it, in my opinion. How long should a newbie like me do options trading before thinking into Forex trading? I say master one thing first, at least a year, and show a consistent return before you jump into something else. Master one before you do another. Can you look at Michael Jordan in basketball and baseball, right? That's how I explain it. Can you explain what trades you alerted in the signals chat? You were very adamant that Qs and IWM were drop, and we're right. Yeah, we actually were in those trades. Basically, I'll go and bring it up here. So Qs here, go ahead and bring this up here. We're on the hourly chart. So you could see we gapped down in the morning. We fell, and I knew they were going to fall because we had a continuation to the downside with zero news. We got it right. IWM, like I talk about in the morning notes with my guys, we talked about IWM, that small caps and semiconductors are leading the way. They led the rally to the upside. I'll show you exactly what I mean. We're looking at the daily chart here. I want to bring it up from December, the lows. You could see how high it went from 157 and even broke above the highs, and then we fell back below. Let's bring up the SMH, which is the semiconductor index. Very similar, from December lows to the new highs of 120 and a big fade of 20%. Huge moves. So again, these are the guys that move. I want to get to the guys that move very quick. I want to get to the ones that actually move the fastest to the downside and upside and play the inverse. So again, SMH was the semiconductor index, AMD, NVIDIA, Micron, those boys. Those are the ones that actually move the fastest. Upside and downside. If we have a strong market, I want to get into semiconductors. I want to look at those names. I want to look at small caps because they're the ones that went up. They're the leading dogs in a sense. They're the ones that lead the race. So again, if stock markets fall, which one I'm going to go to? They're going to go down. And Qs and SPYs always have volume. IWM sometimes, but we caught them both, and I'm glad we did. Any other questions here? Bring them up here. Bring it up here on Qs. You can see the nice drop, and we actually broke support on Qs. You can see here we broke that support of 177.73. We did bounce, but again, it broke, which confirmed our trade. IWM, same thing. You could see we broke that support here. Again, we continued the downside, but we just had a nice little V recovery. But again, it broke really down. And again, I just wanted to ride it with good volume. IWM was that one I like to play. I really like to play the indices on options because they always have great volume. I'll give you an example. IWM, May 24th, and you can see I'm expanding my strikes. Hello. You can see the tons of put volume here. 8,300, 4,963, 3,000. That's the way to rock. On a losing trade, you say you're down 50%. Do you get out of it, close to expire, let it ride? Depends how close we are. If it's a Friday, down 50%, more than likely we'll probably close it. But again, we've had so many turnarounds so quickly. I mean, I could name you dozens of times. AMD, Alibaba, AMD many times. Alibaba, we've had Micron that's reversed. Again, if you have such a tight stop on options, you're going to get stopped out every time. So again, I'd rather you just shorten or make it smaller, your position size, 1 to 2%, so you don't have to worry about getting 100% loss. You just move on. Instead of you going 5% and freaking out at 50% of a loss. It's not worth it. So let's say you have a 4% position on an AMD, and that's a 4% position, you're worried about 50%. Just go 2%, and then you can wait the whole way and look for a reversal. Reversals happen. It does happen. We've seen it before. I mean, I've been doing this for years. I have seen the greatest comebacks. I remember Qualcomm was down 90% on a call when I was trading with my business partner, Anthony, and we had a news item come out that they were going to merge with Broadcom. It shot up to 800% that quickly. I wish I had a screenshot of that, but I don't have it. So again, it's patience. Lower your position size. Don't worry about that stuff. Okay, any other questions here? Okay, as trade war with China drags on, I just got a tweet here. As trade war with China drags on, the retail industry is holding on for dear life. Okay, so that's one thing we could look at too. XRT, retail ETF, more trade war talks. You can see how far it's going down. 4150 would be a good trade to get in for some puts. Tomorrow is Friday, so you have to be very careful. XRT is the retail ETF. Let's see if there's any volume. And you can see there's really none other than the 4150s, but look at that spread. The spread is the difference between the bid and the ask. Ask is what you pay for, bid is what you sell for. So right off the rip, if you're buying XRT puts, at 28 cents, you're already down almost 50% when you buy because you can't sell it at 28 cents. You got to sell it at 15 cents. So again, spreads are very important, guys. That's the difference between the bid and the ask. Again, you want tighter spreads. Do you typically avoid getting into any trades on a Friday? We have done it before. We've made money very quickly. It's just they're higher risk because it doesn't give us the time to make it up. So again, if we get into it in a trade on Friday, which we can tomorrow, I'm not sure. I really don't like that. The best weeks we have are the ones where we're done by Tuesday and Wednesday, where we've already made 10 trades by a Wednesday or Tuesday, and we're basically done because there's not more risk and we're all set. So again, the best bet is I don't like to trade on Friday. Does it mean we never do? No, I don't want to say never, but again, we don't necessarily like to do it. What patterns do you generally look for as much as a signal for the chart about to do? How much do you involve headline news into patterns that you use? Headline news are basically thrown out the window because that could happen anytime. So again, it's basically support and resistance. Does it break our alerts and see the continuation? Short-term trades in regards to patterns are not sustainable because those patterns can break. The only pattern I really do like is this one, is the rising and falling wedge. Those tell me, I've actually pointed it out many times on Instagram. So you can see here, you could see just a descending triangle or a falling flag, falling wedge. You can call it wedge, flag, same thing. And you could see that we're getting a consolidation here, tighter and tighter as we go. Did we break above that? Yes, we did. But you could see right here, we're getting tighter. So 282.71, and you could see, I still think we're gonna get a little more downside here as we tighten up this level here on this descending triangle. And just like you have a descending triangle, you have a rising triangle. I'll give you an example. Look at Roku, rising triangle. You could see here from the lows, let me see if I can get this going right here. Rising triangle there. As we get consolidation closer to the top, we're going to explode above. I still think 95 is in play. I mean, I had a $77 price target in Roku, and we blew above that. So how nice is that? So again, that's the only trading patterns I like is rising and falling wedges. It's worked for me, but anything else that doesn't work, and I've been doing this for a while, and I've tried many other strategies, the momentum strategy just works for us. That's all I could say on that end. Let's see, any other questions here? Oh, thanks, appreciate that. Just here to help, guys, here to help. But again, you can see that rising wedge here on Roku, right? Right over here, you can see that. It's a beautiful rising wedge. I mean, Roku would be nice, but SPY, you can see the complete opposite, descending triangle. I like it, select it to the downside. Hell, you could bring that up with Qs. And it's funny, you could see that Qs and SPY, oops, that's my Fibonacci levels. That's not gonna work. Let me see if I can bring up my drawing tool. From the top down, if you want to kind of just go from the top here, but I'll just go down here because we broke above, you could see that consolidation to the downside. I still think we could continuation more as we get more headlines for the trade war. I mean, that's going to throw a wrench in a lot of things. What's your watch list for tomorrow, next week open? We're going to go over that on the weekly video. I want to see how we close on Friday. So I'll send you guys that video to see what the watch list is. But for the most part, I am watching just indices, SPY, Qs, and IWM. I want to see small caps, I want to see S&P, and I want to see tech. SMH and the semiconductors are always in view. The XRT was something I had my eye on, but it doesn't have the volume. You saw it yourself on the XRT. Look at this here, 1100 volume. Look at that widespread. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it trading on options. Just because it's a good chart, you still need to make sure that you have the volume in order to trade your options. So again, it's a list of things that you got to go over. You're gonna make sure the volume is there. You're gonna make sure the chart is there. You're gonna make sure everything is on point in order to get the trade. It's like a flow chart. You know, we just don't get into anything. Everything has to line up. That's why we're very careful on what we get in, guys. So I gotten a lot of people saying that they're gonna miss today's webinar because of the time. I mean, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so this is gonna be recorded, so no worries here. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. We got a couple 24 minutes left on this webinar. Any other questions today? I expect a little more questions, but again, I love you guys being on today and asking away, because I know visualization helps with teaching. It's very good. A lot of people are very different. Some people listen in order to trade or to learn. Another one is more of examples, more hands-on. Another one is visual. I'm a visual learner. I like to see things myself and see how to do things. So again, this is how I learn personally. If this is the best way for you to learn, great. Then we should do more webinars together, and you can learn. Bitcoin futures, 78.95 right now. Let's look at the futures of 46. Carlos, how about on the indicators like RSI to avoid going to trade was overbought? I don't believe in RSI, and why? Because if we believed in RSI in the stock market as a whole, markets have broken through overbought conditions for decades. It keeps going up. Again, that's long term. I don't use RSI personally. Is it a good indicator? Fine. I mean, sure, I'm not against it. I just don't use it. Yes, you can have overbought and oversold conditions, but again, that's not gospel either. But again, there's different ways to skin a cat. If different traders have different ways to make money, I'm all for it. If it works for you, please. We're not the only way to do things. I just want to make that perfectly clear. Maybe this strategy is not for you. Totally understand, but it works for us. So again, RSI is not something we use. You say 25K minimum SPYG before moving to individual stocks. Yes, for trading, I mean for investing, yes, 25K and SPYG. Remember, guys, I'm gonna bring up SPYG again. Look at the stocks you already get, and look at the returns. 10 years, 16%, 17%. That's without dividends that you get as well. You could see sector breakdown. Look at the top 10 holdings: Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet. You get to be on top of this. You get to be in this together. You get to own these companies all together without having single stock risk. So that's where you should be in. You want to have not single stock risk. You want to have a basket of companies that you know are not going to go away. We know Microsoft's not going away. We know Amazon's not going away. Facebook ain't going away. Alphabet, Google's not going away. Visa, love that company, not going away. Cisco, we know Verizon ain't going away, which they're great dividends. And MasterCard, we know they're not going away. So again, why not own all these together and diversify in the beginning? And you still own these companies. You still have the dividend. And then when you pass 25K, you have a little more skin in the game. You can handle a little more risk too. So again, if you have $1,000 in Microsoft and they fall 10%, it's a $100 hit. Again, it may not mean much to you, but again, it's a big hit. It's an example. So let's say if Microsoft fell 10%, Amazon's not going to fall 10% with it. You still have other companies in other sectors that could prop up that ETF. Been following JR Capital for a while now, new to investing. Where should I begin? Investopedia is a great way to start. Investopedia should help you with any questions. If you're a big reader, like I am, type in Investopedia here, and it has all this education here: Investing 101, best 4 S&P index funds, stock basics tutorial. This will definitely help you. Go to education, it's free. This is all great stuff, guys. Can I own Tesla? You can own whatever you want. I wouldn't. I would say this: if Tesla hits $100 a share, I'll buy some shares. And again, that'd be pure speculation. That'd be like owning a crypto, in my opinion. Money that I'll probably never see, or probably not even care if I lose. But if it hits $100 a share, I will be buying Tesla personally. And only for the fact that it may get bought by somebody else. That's the only reason I'd probably buy it. It's just, unfortunately, management is crap. It really is. So Investopedia, guys, write that down. Looking at government bonds here. We're trading at, let me see if I can get this SPX out the way. We're now trading at 2326. It's pretty low. Donald Trump just tweeted. I just retweeted it for you guys. I need it. That's Nick. Nick saying I need it. He loves that damn Tesla. Any other questions here, guys? We have 20 minutes left on this webinar. Ask away as we're looking here. So this is what I'm looking at all day. I'm looking at dollar yen, always. And I'm looking at ES, which is E-mini futures, all day. SPY all day, and QQQ all day. Hope everyone can hear me, saying that I'm having some audio connection issues. Okay, now we're good. Rock and roll. Any other questions here, boys and girls? Any thoughts on owning NIO? I own NIO, and that's super, super speculative. It is. And I don't care because I'm going to roll the dice on that one. I own a small position. I'm talking like $600 in it. So I'm not really worried about it, but I own it. So again, for what it's worth. Pre-market, let's see. Pre-market, very easy. You're going to type in Market Watch. Oh, no, sorry, wrong one. We're going to go to, I thought I had it here on my, nope, I don't have it here. Investing.com, pre-market quotes. It is one of my, oh, there's right there. That's one of my bookmarks. And right here, investing.com/equity/pre-market, and you can see the volume on all the stocks that are pre-market, what's moving, what's not moving, such and such. I check this. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is check pre-market. First thing I do every day. I gave you guys my schedule, exactly how I do things. Take a look at that. That'd be something to look at to help you out if you like my routine, daily routine. You don't have to be me in order to be profitable or to be successful. It's just a template. If you're disciplined like that and you enjoy doing that, by all means. What the average profit your students make a week swing trading? It really depends. Everyone is different. I mean, we have students that trade with 100 grand. Some have 150,000. Some trade with 10,000. Some trade with 5,000. So again, it just really depends. Again, I don't get everyone telling me how much they've made personally. I don't get an actual breakdown. They just tell me they're doing well. And that's pretty much all I want to hear. If they're doing well, I'm just happy for that. But I don't know exact profit numbers. If any student wants to go ahead and type away how much you've made, by all means. But yeah, I don't have that exact data. I apologize. It's more of a personal thing with a student. I don't want to get into their financials in a sense because I just don't know. But our students are doing well. Absolutely. We have some great students that do very well, and I'm very proud of all of them. 109.67 on dollar yen. You could see a little bit of a movement to the upside. 28.26 on ES. Right now about 7 handles. Bitcoin is up about 1% as we talk here. And that's where we are right now. Interesting. I want to see exactly where we go with tomorrow morning, Friday before a long weekend. I think we're going to get a sell-off. That's just me. I don't think anyone wants to hold positions over the weekend. I think Goldman Sachs was talking about, oh no, the CEO of Interactive Brokers, I read this today and I actually retweeted it. CEO of Interactive Brokers said, I wouldn't want to hold stocks over the summer. Take that for what you think. But again, long term, I'm not selling anything. But again, we definitely make more money when the stock market sells off. Ask any one of our Signal members. Stocks tank, we bank. That's exactly how we do it. So trust me, I'm welcoming a stock market sell-off because we make more money quicker on a sell-off than we do on an uptick. But April was absolutely amazing on an uptick. So again, we can make money both ways as long as we get some kind of volume, some kind of juice. Boring markets, Monday through Wednesday, when I was on vacation, really sucked. So again, didn't really help when we don't have volume. We got to have volume across the board to make money. Okay, we got 15 minutes left on this webinar. Any other questions here? $20.26 on ES right now. Looks like dollar yen is catching a slight bid. Not really worried about it until we break 110. So again, 30 pips away from dollar yen. Let's see if I can read some of the news here and kind of decipher it with you and see exactly when stuff is talked about. What does that mean? Okay, so CPI, nothing really going on. Vicious cycle, creates tech giants, FCC Chair AJ Pai has given the T-Mobile Sprint merger his blessing, but the deal still needs to be approved from DOJ, according to Reuters report from Wednesday. We talked about that. T-Mobile and Sprint, don't touch anything there. Let's see. Bloomberg TV, a hedge fund dude in Asia. Over the past years, nominal GDP has been roughly 11%, but equities are flat. Host, when should we buy China? Guess, never a good time. What? Come on. At least, very least, when we say that is volatility is our friend, and there's plenty. This is from Bloomberg, the Shanghai Composite Index. Let's take a look and see how Asia is doing at the moment. Bring up CNBC. Let's look at Asia markets. Nikkei is down 204. Which is not exactly a good thing, but yet the Dow futures are up 63 points. Asia is down about, Australia is down about 0.68%, and South Korea is down about 11 points right now. So that should bring us down a little further, but right now, US stock markets in the futures are up. So take that for what you will. European markets definitely took a bath today. You have the French FTSE down 2%. French CAC was unchanged. I'm assuming there was a holiday. FTSE in England, 103.15 to the downside, and the German DAX down 200 points. That's something that I always look at too, is the German markets, especially Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank looks very bad, by the way. We could bring up Bloomberg here. We could bring up stocks. And let's see, overview, European markets, Asia Pacific, Nikkei is down 197, just got it here. So if you ever want to see Asian markets, you could take a look at Bloomberg. This is free. I pay for it, but I want to read the articles. I like my news from Bloomberg. So again, you can always see overseas markets here. Right here, this is the S&P ASX is down by 43 points. We just talked about that, and the Nikkei is down at 197. Usually when the Nikkei is down, the yen gets stronger. But right now, we're getting a nice little bid on the dollar yen. Dollar futures right now are green slightly, 97.89. So take a look at this, my Forex traders. If you're on TOS, you can take a look here on FX currency map. All you do is press plus, and you get, again, you go right here to FX currency map, and it's right there. This is included, so you'll actually get all the pairs. So right now you see the dollar, the Canadian dollar is the weakest across the board at 134.76. The Kiwi, the Aussie, the yen, and the franc is the strongest currencies here. So actually, no, excuse me. The yen is weak. The franc is weak. Franc is strong. Excuse me. The franc is weak. The yen is weak against the dollar. The dollar is great across the board, but the dollar, Canadian dollar here, as weakening across the dollar. I'm all over the place. What's going on here? Kiwi is strong. Aussie is strong. The yen is strong in comparison. The Swiss franc is strong. So all green means strength against the dollar, and red means weakness against the dollar. So right now, the pound and the Canadian dollar are weak against the dollar, and the euro, the franc, the yen, the Aussie, and the Kiwi are all strong against the dollar. So again, 109.71 from the last closing, you could see it's weaker. This has not rolled over to the new session, which is the Asian session, and the franc has not rolled over. So again, just kind of keep that in mind overnight. So that's where we are in Forex. Let's take a look at some Forex pairs together. Again, we talked about risk off. Again, I talked about the Swiss franc before. I've talked about the yen. I talked about the dollar. So dollar franc here, you can see here, nice bearish movement here, 100.37. I still think we continue that further to the downside. I'd rather play dollar yen personally. So again, I'm still bearish on that end. Let's take a look at dollar Swiss franc. Swiss franc is a reserve currency, not a reserve currency, but it's a very risk off currency. You can see here on the daily chart, nice little breakdown, but breakdown. I would like to target 99.01 right over here. I wouldn't get into it yet. We're already in dollar yen. Let's go ahead and bring up dollar yen together one more time on the daily. And you can see here 108.04 would be my target. I think we break down 109. Again, obviously we get a little bounce back from the lows here. At 109.48 is where we hit the low for about 20 pips off that. Nothing really to worry about. But 108 is my target. I think we continue to the downside here. And if you really want to go nice and studies, you want to talk about downward trends, you could see here, if we talked about the nearest support level, which would be nearly 109.03, you could see a descending triangle like we spoke about before. So that's where it is. I think we continued back down and break down below 109. If you want to talk about another level, is euro yen, euro dollar. Again, beautiful, beautiful price action. You could see descending triangle. Again, you could talk about 111.30 would be your support if we get that. The tighter and tighter range as we go. I think 111 breaks. Watch out for that. 111 breaks, we can get a squeeze down to 110, which would be, we're nearing the lows on the yearly chart on the euro dollar. So again, dollar is strengthening. Let's see the pound dollar. Again, be very careful with the pound, guys, especially with headline risk. You could see here, $1 double, almost a triple top here. But again, back down as we go. If you want to trade it, I would definitely wait for a break of 126. You want to go ahead and target 125.38 the next fib. If you want to target a little further, 124.82. But be very careful here, guys. Go really maybe a quarter position on pound dollar because it's so very volatile. If you want to take a look at Kiwi dollar, let's do that too. Kiwi dollar would be a risk on asset. Kiwi and the Aussie we've talked about, it's risk on. When stock markets are doing well, they go up. So you could see here as well, 164.47. I think if we break around 164.88, that's about 30 handles, 30 pips to the downside. We can continue down to 164.30, and even 164 could be a target on the Kiwi. If we want to look at Aussie dollar I always look at is a China play. If you ever want to play the Chinese markets, Aussie's the way to do it. They're the biggest trading partner for Australia is China, geographically speaking, and you could see the continuation to the downside here. If you want to go ahead and play that, you could see we could play descending triangle. No real support here as it's broken every single time. Let's say our support level is 168.54. If we break that, again, you could see the tightening range in the daily, the continuation of the tightening, and it'll roll ahead and break down below. We had a mini flash crash back in January to 166.52 and then bid back up. So again, I still like Aussie dollars to the downside. Just be very careful on your swing and go from there. Thank you for always being so informative and willing to help. Please keep doing these sessions. Very helpful. Got to run. Enjoy. Thank you so much for joining. We have 8 minutes left, guys. I did a little bit of Forex here. Hope those pairs helped. If you guys have any rapid stock questions, just type it away. I'll be more than happy to help. Or if any questions before we run out of time, please do so. Any other questions? Amazon. Okay, good one. Amazon, of course, one of my favorite stocks ever. Amazon, beautiful here. If we break down below 1,500, I'm going to buy some stock. It's just expensive ticket-wise. Obviously, I own it in my mutual funds. SPYG owns it. But again, you could see here on a daily chart. Let's go ahead and look at a daily chart. 1747 would be support. We could bounce down there. But again, good earnings. I think we continue to the upside. But again, with markets moving the way they are, it's kind of just a sense of where the market goes, Amazon's going to. So again, it could be a lot of people just selling off their profit taking. Look at the lows we got from December, from 1307 to 1815. If you're scared about Chinese trade war, maybe you want to go ahead and sell your Amazon. I'm talking about traders in general might be doing this, selling their position in Amazon. Amazon doesn't really have China's exposure, which makes it even more attractive. I'm long Amazon. I've always have been. One of our top 10 stocks of 2019. Netflix, another stock of 2019 that we're in. Lows of 231, now 352. You could see a day, just a range bound movement. Break above 388.65 when we could talk about going long. Break below 340, 342.03. I'm gonna put an alert there. Break below that, then I would buy some puts. SPY, we talked about SPY. I'm gonna move this over. SPY, again, consolidation on the 1 hour to the downside. I think we break below. That's why I have some SPY puts. If you take a look at the daily, again, that 280.94 is support, especially on those taps here. The triple top, big fall. Then we retested, broke above, hit 294.95, nearing all-time highs, 282.14. 280.94 is the level. If we break that, 274.82 on the daily would be the next way. I think short term we break below. Any other questions here? Got 5 minutes left on this webinar, and I'm gonna go and post it on YouTube for you guys. Carlos, thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much for joining, guys. Would you guys like to do this every week? How would you guys feel about that? If you would like to do this every week, webinar Wednesdays, just type in yes on the chat board here, and we'll consider it for you guys. Yes, yes, okay, a lot of yeses. Maybe you can get more questions from you guys, because I love doing this for you guys. Webinar Wednesdays, I would probably just do it for 30 minutes because an hour tends to be a little longer than usual, and I want to get my research on, help my guys out. So we could do webinar Wednesdays, absolutely. Probably be 30 minutes long as well, be quick 30-minute call, all of us together, and be a lot easier for me so I can make sure I have my time set for you guys. So there we are. All right, we're going to go and end this call. Unless someone else has a stock they want me to look at or something else, I'll be more than happy to help. But that's where we are for the week. If we don't speak, guys, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Please stay safe, everybody. Enjoy your families. Money is nice, don't get me wrong. I understand money's nice, making money's nice, but remember, you're doing it to enjoy your life. Don't make your life all about money. This is just a tool to help you do the freedom that you want to do in your life. We all like making money. We all like the stock market and all this stuff, but don't make it the center point of your life, guys. Just enjoy it and just treat it like a business. That's all I say. So again, don't make money a center part of your life, guys. That's the main key I want to put away there. But again, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy. We'll catch you guys on Tuesday. Well, tomorrow we have the market. I'll catch you guys for the morning note tomorrow. Hello, I think it's Friday. And Mace, thank you so much from Australia. We love you guys. We'll catch you guys soon. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll catch you for the next webinar, maybe Wednesday. I'll let you guys know. Have a good one, guys.